And the writers would go, "You're right."
Here I go, getting in trouble again.
What are they going to do?
Well, they
Are they going to cancel
Show's
the
canceled.
show?
Yeah.
Show's canceled. It's Colton's fault.
Remember when you had to stand in a vat of oatmeal for like 3 days with David?
I would sit there and say to myself out loud, quietly, "You are being a bad dad." It worked.
Welcome. Take it in.
There's a lot of you guys here. Hello.
There is a lot, and they're all here for all of you. So, welcome, y'all. Let's get into it.
I mean, for me, it was towards the end where we would have big scenes where we were all together. I mean, when we started off the show, it would just be me alone and cold late at night, and then driving to Seattle the following morning to come see you guys. But then towards the end, we would get to shoot these big scenes with Canary and Arsenal and Spartan and another Canary and you name it, right? So got a lot more fun and a lot more inclusive towards the end.
I just miss, looking back, it felt like we were at summer camp every day.
Yeah.
And I think when you work that much, 23 episodes, it was 10 months a year, nonstop. These guys did it even longer than I did, but you get caught up in the fact that you're working, you love it, you're grateful, but when you look back, it's like, God, those were such sweet times, like such nostalgic times.
Yeah, sort of like, no, we had it good.
We had it real good.
Why'd we stop?
I don't think we should have.
The rate things go now, it's like, we have a couple more years till the reboot? I mean, I feel like if Steven's just like, we should do more, they'll be like, okay.
Steven?
Let's get Heels a couple more seasons.
Yeah.
Let's get Heels a couple more seasons.
Thank
and
you.
then,
I appreciate that.
I'm looking out for you.
Me and my family at Stars appreciate before.
You don't want to just balance all of it?
No, hey, look, the key for anything is timing. But if what I went back to film on an episode of The Flash this year for their last year, and that was really fun. And that sort of showed me that I think that we ended at the right time. I think that, obviously things are ending on the CW, and that whole universe is wrapping up. But going back and shooting, it sort of showed me that I'm glad that the one chapter is over, but I anticipate doing more in the future at some point.
I think the whole crossover experience feels like that. You don't know what show you're on. You don't know what trailer you're in. It's just like, right? Was that your experience as well?
Yeah, no, I showed up on crossover. Ken Shane, our first assistant director, would make me an old school calendar. You see, in the beginning of Top Gun Maverick, when he's got the Mach 9 tests, it's circled on the calendar. I'd have an old school calendar like that would show me where I was going, what I was doing, and what show I was on. And then even then, I would show up at some warehouse, and I'd be like, okay, what are we shooting? They're like, well, Oliver and Barry and da-da-da-da-da. They go and they do this, and I go, okay, all right, okay. No, but what show? Do you know how I stopped myself from laughing in scenes? Because the first couple of years, there were scenes where I could see the crew getting annoyed. I came up with a mantra to myself. Shit. I came up with a mantra that if I was laughing and I was delaying our day, that I was taking time away from my family. So I would sit there and say to myself out loud, quietly, "You are being a bad dad." It worked.
God, I have been on a rewatch watching it again, and it is, when you're filming a scene with someone, especially if it's like an intimate one, you don't necessarily always feel the chemistry when you're doing it. But Willa and I would laugh because we would watch it and be like, why did it wasn't like that when we were filming. We're like, no offense. But when we watched it, it actually was really, sweet. So that was always fun to do those scenes. So, yeah.
We've seen you have a feud with Stardust.
Sure.
Any potential opportunity of a return to the ring and a feud with the American Nightmare?
Oh, man. No, I'm not really on the main event scene in WWE. We would like to... It's not confirmed yet, but I would guess that the second season of Heels is due out around the midpoint of the year. And you know, going into the 4th season of Arrow, that's when I did my stuff with the WWE, and we saw a real uptick in terms of new eyeballs on the show across like at live viewing and then Netflix and so on and so forth. So I would like to do something with WWE or AEW potentially around the launch of the 2nd season. So that will probably entail getting into the ring in some way, shape, or form.
I just came off of another show, and I'd been off the show for like 2 weeks, and then Greg called me and was like, yeah, I was just doing Teen Wolf. And then Greg was like, hey, do you want to come on this new show? It just started airing. I think you guys were in, I started on the 15th episode, but I got the call around episode 8. And I was like, hell yeah, I want to come. And then three episodes turned into 6, and then I, became full-time after that. But it was such a fun experience. Being in Vancouver, it's like a different thing. There's always like photographers hiding that you never see them, and they're always getting everything on camera off of set. And I was not used to that. But it was just such a beautiful experience. So that's really, with my casting, that's what happened.
I remember leaving the first audition, and I went home and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said out loud, if you don't book this job, you're just going to quit acting, because which I don't recommend if you were an actor to think that way, by the way, that was not a healthy thing. But I did say that to myself because you don't often have this experience where you just know something is yours, and nothing would make sense if it wasn't. But that was my experience, and I said to myself, if you get a call back, like it's gonna be yours. And I did get a call back, and thank you, yeah. So it just felt meant to be, and I didn't know who I was playing. I didn't know I was gonna be Dinah Drake. They just said you're a vigilante, and until I basically showed up, I didn't know. But I just, yeah, it was a really incredible experience.
Same thing for me with Jules. I left my first audition and I called my manager and I was like, I think I just booked that. But that's not how that's supposed to work. It's like the first in a series of auditions. That was on a Monday or a Tuesday, and a week later I was cast. It was announced. It was all that stuff. So again, it doesn't always work that way, but when it does, it's magical, and it just comes together very, very, very fast.
Were you the first or the last person they saw?
I was the first person in the room. In the first season, the 4th episode went wrong. They didn't like it. They liked the pilot. They loved the 2nd episode. They loved the 3rd episode. We filmed the 4th episode. We were filming the 5th. We were filming the 6th, and then we were filming the 4th again. That was brutal because that was when I had no idea who either one of you were at that point in time. And we went for 4 or 5 weeks of filming 6 days a week to make that back up.
I think when I finally find out that you are the Arrow, where we have to run from that big explosion, and they were like, oh, you might feel the explosion. You might feel it. There's like mats there. We're running away. A freaking silo or something. They were like, we're just gonna blow that freaking building up. It blew up so hard that it blew me past the thing. So Stephen's like jacked and like muscular, so like he was fine. I fly like 6 feet further, and I was like, did that really just happen? I had no idea that the G-force, I don't know whatever the hell it is. So, that was memorable, but it was also fun because we had a lot of cool stuff to do. So.
Yeah, we filmed that scene, and the thing blows up behind us, but then they let the cameras keep rolling, and you see like fire in the background, and then you also see like a random tire come through the frame, just rolling through, and Roy's supposed to turn to Oliver because his hood's off and go, you're the guy, and I'm supposed to go like, yeah, that's right. And instead, because we were so jacked up from the explosion, I'm like, yeah, that's me.
This has probably not been talked about, and of course I'm gonna say it now because I feel it coming out. When Steve Aoki was like our DJ on the show, his sister was supposed to play Cheshire, and she was cast, but then they found out that she was pregnant. So I think they nixed it all together. And so they told me that, and then, yeah. So Devin was supposed to be on Arrow. Here I go, getting in trouble again.
Hot takes.
God.
Hot takes, hot stories.
What are they going to do?
Well, they
Are
ended up,
they going to
Yeah.
they going to cancel
I mean,
Show's
the
canceled.
show?
Yeah,
Show's
right.
canceled. It's Colton's fault.
yeah, they ended up making it a different character and bringing someone else in, but I know that that was who she was going to play.
Yeah, I had those interactions a lot, but not in that way. Not like I don't want to do this. Like it would be more, I can't do that.
Okay.
And they go, why? And I'd cite like 7 different examples from different episodes, and the writers would go, you're right.
Remember when you had to stand in a vat of oatmeal for like 3 days with David? And the first day, it smelled like the most delicious like breakfast buffet. And by day 3, it just smelled like vomit. And like they were up to their waists for 3 days. It was awesome.
It was really, no, that was the only time, that was the only time that I threw down the gauntlet on set. I was like, guys, this is enough. This is enough. I'm going to barf, okay? And then David's going to barf, and then we're both going to barf on each other. You guys get 1 more take in this setup, and then you get 2 takes on the next setup, and we're done. And everyone was like, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, ha, ha, what? It was awful. Do you remember that?
Oh my God. I was laughing the whole
I
time.
was like, oh, yeah, it smells like vomit.
And that was the day the crew learned the mantra, change out the oatmeal after day 1.
Oatmeal almost took out the Arrow.